The Galactic Council's emergency war beacon pierced through every communication channel in the sector, and the human student looked up from her calculus homework just long enough to say, "I'll take it," before returning to her equations. "What?" Admiral T'Lana's crystalline features flickered through every shade of distress purple. "No, absolutely not. We need a trained soldier, a warrior, someone who... I'm someone." Emma Johnson didn't look up from her textbook, pencil still moving across the page. Problem solved. Now can someone turn down that alarm? I'm trying to focus here. The conference room descended into chaos. 47 species representatives erupted simultaneously, their translators creating a cacophony of panic that would have been impressive if Emma had been paying attention. She wasn't. Commander Zyl'ax's holographic form dominated the center display, 8 feet of scaled muscle and ceremonial battle armor that had been soaked in the blood of 14 species champions. His weapon collection clinked with bones, actual bones from previous opponents. According to YouTube analytics, 98% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, Earth! His voice rattled the station's hull plating. You have 43 minutes to present your champion or accept extinction as your species' legacy. Choose wisely, for I have never been defeated. Bones of the fallen, honor and glory. Got it. Emma finally looked up, pushing her reading glasses higher on her nose. I said I'll do it. Can we start soon? I've got a study group at 6. The silence that followed was the kind usually reserved for funeral services or catastrophic systems failures. She's a child, Ambassador Jotaro from the Nexian Collective gestured wildly with 4 of his 6 arms. She's studying mathematics. Commander Zyl'ax has obliterated combat veterans with centuries of experience. He dismantled the Vorchan battle champion in under 3 minutes. Cool, Emma made a note in her textbook margin. So it'll be quick. That works for me. Admiral T'Lana pressed her primary manipulators against the conference table hard enough to make it creak. Miss Johnson, do you understand what's happening here? Commander Zyl'ax has issued a formal combat challenge under the Treaty of Kronos. The challenge carries an automatic species extinction clause. If you lose, if any human loses, Earth will be declared a failed species and quarantined for 10,000 cycles, your entire planet. Everyone you know, everyone you've ever met. Do you comprehend? Yeah, finals are in 2 weeks. Emma closed her textbook with a soft thump. So I really can't afford to let this drag on. What are the rules? Is there a time limit? Can I bring my textbook to study between rounds? Zyl'ax's hologram leaned forward, apparently as confused as everyone else. You wish to bring a text recording to our sacred combat? Well, yeah, if there are breaks. Emma tilted her head. I mean, I'm already behind on Chapter 12, and Professor Martinez does not accept prevented species extinction as an excuse for late homework. Trust me, I've checked. This is insane. The collective representative's voice climbed 3 octaves. We have 41 minutes to find a qualified combatant. Where's the Earth Defense Force? Where's your military command? Where are your warriors? Probably sleeping. It's like 3 a.m. back home. Emma checked her phone. Look, I'm here, I'm awake, and I've got some time before my study group. Just point me at the angry lizard guy and let's get this done. Angry lizard, Zyl'ax's roar shook the display. I am Commander Zyl'ax, conqueror of the outer reaches, destroyer of the Vorchan pride, bearer of the crimson blade which has tasted the blood of 14 species' finest warriors. My victories span 300 planetary cycles. My name is whispered in fear across 800 worlds. That's great, really impressive. Emma stood up, stretching. So, is the combat arena nearby, or do I need to take a shuttle? Because if it's a shuttle situation, I should probably grab my coffee first. Admiral T'Lana made a sound like glass breaking. You don't understand. You can't understand. Zyl'ax doesn't just defeat his opponents, he destroys them. The Vorchan champion. He was 7 feet tall, trained since birth in 16 martial disciplines, enhanced with combat stimulants that would kill most species. Zyl'ax broke him in half, literally in half. The recording is required viewing for new council members as a lesson in the consequences of underestimating. Yeah, I got it. He's big and strong and really sure he'll win. Emma picked up her backpack. Can I use a pencil? I'm almost out of lead anyway, and the bookstore's closed. The silence returned, somehow even more profound than before. A pencil? Ambassador Jataro's translator seemed uncertain about the word. As in, a primitive marking implement? Literally graphite and wood, guys. How dangerous can it be? That's not a weapon, 3 species shouted in unison. It's not a weapon, Emma countered reasonably. I mean, John Wick killed a guy with a pencil. 2 guys, actually, maybe 3. I forget how that scene went. Zyl'ax's hologram flickered with what might have been confusion. Who is this, John Wick? Never mind, different conversation. Emma headed for the door. So where's this arena? And seriously, is there going to be time between rounds? Because I really do need to study and… There are no rounds, Admiral Talana practically screamed. It's ritual combat to the death. First incapacitation wins. The loser's species faces extinction. Right, got it. Emma paused at the doorway. But how long does that usually take? Because if it's going to be more than an hour, I should probably text my study group. 847 species representatives watched through their various monitoring systems as the human student walked out of the conference room, checking her phone and completely failing to grasp that she'd just volunteered for what was essentially guaranteed execution followed by the genocide of her entire species. Commander Zyl'ax stared at his holographic display, mandibles working slowly. This is your champion? A child with a pencil who's concerned about her study schedule? No, Admiral Talana lunged for her communication panel. This is not our champion. This is a catastrophic misunderstanding. We need to halt the challenge, invoke emergency protocols, request a… 38 minutes, Zyl'ax interrupted, his voice carrying the weight of absolute certainty. 38 minutes until Earth's default. I will be waiting in the arena. Send your child if you wish. Her bones will join my collection, and her species will serve as yet another lesson in the price of arrogance. The hologram cut out. Emma, halfway down the corridor, called back over her shoulder, "Hey, does the arena have Wi-Fi? I might need to look up some formulas." The tactical briefing room had been designed to accommodate species of all sizes and temperaments. It had never been designed to accommodate a human college student who kept checking her phone while military experts tried to explain how she was about to die. "Miss Johnson, if you could please focus." General Korvax's tactical display showed 3-dimensional combat scenarios, each one ending with a Catharian warrior standing over a broken opponent. Catharian combat doctrine is based on overwhelming force applied through… So basically he's big, strong, and really sure he'll win. Emma took a bite of the sandwich she'd somehow acquired. Got it. Next slide. It's not that simple. Korvax's scales flushed dark red. There are 200 years of combat tradition here. Honor codes, weapon restrictions, sacred protocols that govern… Cool. Emma nodded, still chewing. Can I use a pencil? I'm almost out of lead anyway, and like I said, the bookstore's closed until Monday. The 3 Catharian representatives who'd materialized via hologram for the pre-combat ceremony erupted simultaneously. Pencil is not registered weapon. Article 7, subsection 4 of the Treaty of Kronos clearly states that only traditional implements forged in accordance with… Emma laughed, nearly choking on her sandwich. It's literally graphite and wood, guys. How dangerous can it be? I'm not asking to bring a lightsaber or anything. A what? One of the representatives looked confused. Never mind. Earth thing. Emma wiped her hands on her jeans. Look, I just need something to write with in case I think of solutions to my homework problems. The pencil's not even sharp. I've been using it all day. Admiral Talana pulled up Emma's academic records with increasing desperation. According to this, you're a mathematics major. Your combat training consists of 1 semester of self-defense for college students that you took as a PE credit. You got a B+. Yeah, I missed a couple. Classes, Emma shrugged. Thursday mornings are rough. This isn't a joke! Talana slammed her manipulator down hard enough to crack the display. Watch this, watch it. The main screen lit up with combat footage. Zyl'ax, in his prime, facing the Vorshan battle champion, a creature that looked like it had been designed by a committee of nightmare fuel experts specifically to kill things efficiently. The fight lasted 93 seconds. It was not a pleasant 93 seconds for the Vorshan. Emma watched while finishing her sandwich, head tilted slightly. He telegraphs his right hook. The briefing room went silent except for the sound of Admiral Talana's careful, measured breathing that suggested she was either practicing meditation or preparing to commit violence. He telegraphs, Korvax repeated slowly. That strike has a recorded impact force of 17,000 newtons. It shattered reinforced battleplate, and you noticed his form? I mean, yeah. Emma pointed at the screen with her sandwich wrapper. See? Right there. He drops his left shoulder like a full second before the strike, and his weight shift is super obvious. Anyone who's done sparring would see it coming. The Vorshan champion had centuries of combat experience. Then he should have seen it too. Emma dropped the wrapper in a disposal unit. Look, I'm not trying to be difficult, but this seems pretty straightforward. Big guy, strong attacks, predictable patterns. It's like fighting 101? How can you be so calm? Admiral Talana's voice cracked. He outmasses you by 400 kilograms. His species evolved as apex predators on a death world where the plants are carnivorous. He has redundant organ systems, bone density 3 times that of reinforced steel, and reaction times that. Yeah, but I'm not planning to arm wrestle him. Emma checked her phone again. What time does this start? Because I really do need to text my study group if this is going to run late. 3 military technicians arrived with armor, lightweight human-compatible gear that had been rushed from the nearest Earth defense outpost. They looked relieved to have something practical to contribute. Emma looked at it and frowned. Do I have to wear that? Yes, 5 species shouted in unison, but it'll slow me down. She poked at the chest plate experimentally. This has to weigh like, what, 20 pounds? 19.3 kilograms of life-saving protection. So 40 pounds. Yeah, that's going to mess with my mobility. Emma pushed it away gently. I'm good, thanks though. General Korvax pulled up his command interface with shaking manipulators. I'm invoking Protocol 77 Alpha. Clearly suicidal volunteer. We need psychiatric evaluation, emergency Earth government contact, legal authorization to physically restrain the volunteer for her own. That protocol was suspended by the treaty. Ambassador Jitaro looked like he wanted to crawl under the conference table. Once a volunteer is accepted, interference equals species forfeit. We can't stop her. We can't. On the secondary display, Zyl'ax was visible in the arena staging area, running through practice forms that involved weapons the size of Emma's entire body. Each strike split training dummies that had been designed to withstand starship-grade impacts. He paused mid-swing, looking directly at the camera that he knew was streaming to the briefing room. 17 minutes, humans. Perhaps use this time for prayer to whatever gods you haven't already disappointed. Emma glanced at the screen. Is he always this dramatic? Because honestly, that's going to get old fast. Admiral Talana made a sound somewhere between a laugh and a sob. You're going to die. You understand that, right? You're going to die. Your species is going to be quarantined, and Earth will become a cautionary tale that parents tell children about the dangers of overconfidence. Probably not, though. Emma picked up her backpack and slung it over one shoulder. I mean, statistically speaking, if he's fought 14 champions and they all fought the same way, he's probably never encountered anything outside his experience. That's a pretty exploitable weakness. She headed for the door, then paused. Oh, one more thing. Does the arena have decent lighting? I might need to read while he's doing the whole honor and glory speech thing. Those usually run long, right? The door closed behind her. 847 species watched their monitoring feeds in absolute silence as the human student walked toward the combat arena, checking her phone and apparently completely unconcerned that she was heading to her own execution. In his staging area, Commander Zyl'ax stared at his own monitoring feed, mandibles working slowly in genuine confusion. The human showed no fear response, no adrenaline spike, no elevated heart rate. His species had evolved to read prey behavior across 6,000 species. This human registered as bored. The combat arena materialized in the center of the council observation deck, a perfect 50-meter circle of reinforced durasteel that had witnessed the end of 14 species' hopes. Energy barriers hummed to life, containing what was about to happen while ensuring 847 species representatives had perfect viewing angles for Earth's extinction. Commander Zyl'ax entered from the north gate like a natural disaster given physical form. Full ceremonial war armor, each plate etched with the names of fallen opponents. 4 traditional weapons magnetized to his back, a warhammer that had caved in a Vorchan's skull, twin axes that had separated a Rigelian champion from their primary limbs, and the crimson blade itself, still stained with blood that Catharian tradition forbade cleaning. Emma Johnson entered from the south gate with a backpack, a mechanical pencil, and a water bottle that said, "Math teachers have problems," in faded letters. The visual contrast made several species representatives physically recoil from their displays. "Behold!" Zyl'ax's voice thundered across the arena, amplified by the acoustic properties that made sure everyone heard every word of these traditional slaughters. "I am Commander Zyl'ax, bearer of 300 victories, destroyer of the Vorchan pride, crusher of the Rigelian defense, breaker of the—" Emma sat down cross-legged about 5 meters inside the arena perimeter, pulled out her textbook, and started working on a problem set. Slayer of the Nexian Battle Corps, victor of the Tournament of Blood on Cathros Prime, wielder of the Crimson Blade, which has— Are you writing? Emma looked up. Oh, sorry. Keep going. I'm listening. You are not listening. You are solving equations during my formal challenge declaration. I can multitask. Emma made a note in the margin. You were up to the Crimson Blade part. Something about having never tasted defeat across 3 dozen systems? You can keep going. Zyl'ax's mandibles worked in confusion severe enough that his translator momentarily glitched. This is the greatest disrespect ever shown in sacred combat. I have destroyed warriors for less. I have ended species for less. Cool. Emma turned a page. How much longer does the speech usually run? Because I've got like 4 more problems in this set. 17 minutes, Admiral Talana whispered into the council channel, her voice strangled. The formal declaration is 17 minutes long. It's required by treaty. She's going to do homework through 17 minutes of her own death sentence. She did. Zyl'ax went through his entire accomplishment list. Every victory, every fallen champion, every species that had learned the hard way not to challenge Catharian superiority. He described in detail what he was going to do to Emma. He invoked his ancestors. He called upon the glory of his homeworld. He made threats that would have made seasoned warriors reconsider their life choices. Emma filled out 3 pages of calculus homework, occasionally nodding along like she was listening to a podcast. And so I shall add your bones to my collection, that future generations might know the price of human arrogance. Your species shall— Emma looked up. Oh, sorry, are you done? I thought you were just getting warmed up. The silence that followed was profound enough that several monitoring systems registered it as a technical malfunction. Zyl'ax seemed genuinely at a loss. I am, yes. The formal declaration is complete. We may now begin. Great, Emma stood up, brushing off her jeans, textbook still open in her left hand. Let's make this quick. I've got 3 more problems, and they're the tricky ones. The combat began. Zyl'ax charged with a warhammer strike that had obliterated reinforced bunkers during the siege of Krath 7. The hammer's head blurred through the air with enough force to pulverize bone, shatter steel, and cause everyone watching to involuntarily flinch. Emma stepped aside without looking up from her textbook, the hammer missing her by centimeters. "She's not even looking at him!" Ambassador Jotaro shrieked into the council channel. "Probability and spatial awareness," Emma muttered to herself, making a note. "If he swings from that angle with that much wind-up, basic physics says—" The second strike came faster, a horizontal sweep with both axes that would have bisected anything slower than a kinetic round. Emma ducked smoothly, still writing an equation, the axes whistling through empty air where her head had been a microsecond earlier. "Hey," she said conversationally, not looking up. "You're good at math?" Zyl'ax skidded to a stop, recalibrating. "I am warrior, not scholar." Right, just thought you might know derivatives." Emma finished writing and looked up briefly. "Because I'm stuck on this related rates problem and it's driving me crazy." "You mock me!" "What? No, I genuinely need help with derivatives." Emma rolled forward as the crimson blade came down where she'd been sitting, the impact sending cracks spiderwebbing across the arena floor. Her pencil fell from her pocket during the roll. Zyl'ax, charging forward for a 4th strike, stepped directly on it. The pencil, round, made of wood, covered in years of accumulated hand oils, did exactly what pencils do when stepped on. It rolled. Commander Zyl'ax, 8 feet of apex predator wrapped in 300 pounds of ceremonial armor, slid across the arena floor like a cartoon character on a banana peel. His weapons went flying, his arms windmilled, his tail flailed for balance that wasn't coming. He hit the energy barrier with a sound like a gong made of meat. The arena went absolutely silent. "Oh man, sorry," Emma jogged over, genuinely concerned. "I should have mentioned pencils are slippery. Are you okay? That looked like it hurt." She offered her hand to help him up. 847 species representatives stared at their monitors, trying to process what they'd just witnessed. "That was—" General Korvax's voice was barely a whisper. "That was accidental. It had to be accidental. The pencil placement was random, a tactical computer confirmed. But the human's movement pattern ensured the target would step on it during his charge trajectory. Probability of coincidence, 0.003%. She weaponized a pencil by dropping it? In the arena, Zyl'ax stared at Emma's outstretched hand, his entire worldview quietly experiencing critical system failure. Zyl'ax didn't take the offered hand. He surged to his feet, scales flushed dark purple with what his species used to signal mortal offense. When he retrieved his weapons, his movements carried a different quality. This wasn't ritual combat anymore. This was personal. "You dare!" The warhammer came in a diagonal strike that should have been impossible to track. Emma swiveled on her heel, the hammer passing through the space she'd occupied. "See, you're fighting like this is about strength." "Combat is always about strength." Another strike, faster, the axes spinning in a pattern designed to create an inescapable kill box. Emma laughed, actually laughed, while sliding between the blades like water. "Dude, combat is about not getting hit. You've seen The Matrix, right? The whole there is no spoon thing." "What is Matrix?" "Never mind, Earth thing again." She ducked a tail strike without looking. "Point is, you're using like maximum force on every attack and I'm just not being where the attacks are." In the observation deck, General Korvax had pulled up a kinetic analysis of Emma's movement patterns. The data made his scales itch. "Zero wasted energy," he whispered. "Every movement serves dual purpose, evasion and positioning. She's not reacting to his attacks. She's predicting them too, sometimes 3 moves ahead." "While solving calculus problems," Admiral Talana added, her voice hollow. "Look at her left hand. She's still holding the textbook. She's still reading." She's treating a deathmatch like a word problem, another analyst observed. Emma apparently heard them through the arena's audio feed. I mean, yeah? Because it kind of is. If X attacks at Y angle with Z velocity, I move to... She sidestepped the crimson blade by millimeters. Position A prime. It's just applied mathematics. There is no mathematics in combat, Zyl'ax roared, launching into a combination attack that had leveled a small building during a demonstration. There is only blood and victory. See, that's where you're wrong. Emma rolled under a strike, came up still reading. Everything is mathematics, physics, biology, tactics. It's all just equations with really complicated variables. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Zyl'ax's attacks were getting slower, sloppier. His breathing had gone from controlled to labored. Purple scales were darkening to near black with exertion. Emma looked concerned. Hey, you're burning like 3,000 calories right now. Want some water? She held out her water bottle mid-combat, genuine offer in her voice. Zyl'ax batted it away with enough force to dent the arena wall. I do not need, he gasped for air, human charity. Okay, but hydration is important. Emma shrugged, tucking the bottle back in her backpack. Just trying to help. The attacks continued, each one a little slower, a little less precise. Zyl'ax was operating on pride now, his tactical computer long since having registered that he couldn't land a hit on a target that treated Mortal Kombat like an annoying interruption to homework. This doesn't make sense! He swung wildly, weapon control deteriorating. You have no enhancements, no armor, no combat augmentation. You're not even trying. I'm definitely trying. Emma hopped over a tail sweep. I'm trying to finish these derivatives before my study group starts. You're just making it difficult. She paused, seeming to consider something, then addressed the monitoring feeds directly. Can I explain something to the council? Because I think there's been a misunderstanding. By all means, Admiral T'Lana said weakly. Please explain how you're casually dominating a warrior who has ended 14 species. Right, so, Emma ducked another strike. Humans learn combat as sport, not survival. We literally teach children to do this for fun. Like, I took 1 semester of self-defense because I needed a PE credit. That's it. This is basically recreational for us. The council channel exploded with overlapping voices, none of them coherent. We have children's programs for learning how to do this, Emma continued, dodging a particularly desperate overhead smash. Summer camps, after-school activities, my little cousin's in junior karate and she's 7. This isn't even my main skill set. I'm a math major. Zyl'ax swung again, missed by a wider margin, and his follow-through nearly toppled him. His breath came in ragged gasps. The crimson blade dipped low enough to scrape the arena floor. So, Emma watched him with genuine concern. Do you yield? Or should I wait until you can't stand up, because I feel like option 2 might be dangerous for your health? How? Zyl'ax managed between breaths. How are you? Not even tired? Oh, I run like 5 miles every morning before class. Coffee, breakfast, 5-mile run, shower, then lectures. Emma checked an imaginary watch. This is basically a warm-up compared to my Tuesdays. Those have an 8 a.m. section. Commander Zyl'ax, destroyer of the Vorshan Pride, crusher of the Regelian defense, bearer of 300 victories across 36 systems, looked at the human college student who had reduced him to exhaustion without throwing a single strike. His weapons clattered to the arena floor. I yield. The words fell like neutron stars into the silence. The human champion. The arena's automated referee system struggled with the unprecedented situation. The human champion achieves victory. Combat concluded. Earth status upheld. Treaty obligations satisfied. 847 species representatives sat frozen at their monitoring stations, staring at something that shouldn't have been possible. Emma had won a death match to save her species, without attacking once, while doing calculus homework, and she looked mildly annoyed about the time commitment. Great, Emma closed her textbook with obvious relief. Does anyone have the arena Wi-Fi password? I should probably text my study group that I'm running like 15 minutes late. In the observation deck, Admiral T'Lana carefully set down her data tablet before she could throw it through something expensive. Rewrite, she said quietly. Rewrite everything we know about human combat capabilities. Everything? General Korvax asked weakly. Everything. The Council emergency session had been convened within minutes of the combat's conclusion. 847 species representatives filled the chamber with overlapping voices, none of them quite able to process what they'd witnessed. Human defeated Zyl'ax without attacking. Ambassador Jotaro kept repeating it like a mantra. Without attacking. She didn't throw a single strike. In the adjacent observation room, Emma had returned to her calculus homework, completely oblivious to the existential crisis happening 30 meters away. Her pencil, the same one that had nearly killed a legendary warrior, moved steadily across the page. Admiral T'Lana entered the observation room with the careful movements of someone whose entire worldview had been recently demolished and poorly reassembled. Miss Johnson, do you understand what you've done? Finish problem 6. Emma held up her textbook hopefully. Please tell me I finished problem 6 because this related rates thing is seriously kicking my butt. You humiliated the greatest warrior in the sector. Emma looked genuinely confused. I just didn't get hit. That's like fighting 101. Don't be where the attacks are. It's not complicated. Before T'Lana could respond, the door opened again. Commander Zyl'ax entered, moving stiffly, his ceremonial armor replaced with simple medical wraps. He approached Emma with the formal posture of someone delivering an official statement. I offer formal apology, he said, each word careful. I underestimated human combat philosophy. This was profound error in judgment. Emma blinked up at him. It's cool. You were working with incomplete information. She tilted her head. Hey, you want some tips? I can show you the footwork thing. It's really just about weight distribution and reaction time. The council channel erupted with frantic note-taking. She's treating species-extinction combat as a teaching opportunity, General Korvax muttered into his recorder. Human defeated legendary warrior, now offering him training advice. Casualness level, unprecedented. Zyl'ax sat down heavily across from Emma, mandibles working in that expression his species used for deep confusion. How did you predict every attack? My strikes are designed to be unpredictable, varying in speed and angle to eliminate defensive patterns. Same way I solve equations. Emma gestured at her textbook. You see the pattern, find the formula, apply the solution. You favor your right side by about 15 degrees. You always reset to the same neutral stance, and your tail position telegraphs what your arms are going to do about 0.3 seconds before you commit. Once I saw the pattern, it was just math. The council recorder flagged this exchange with a priority marker, critical intel. Humans apply academic analytical frameworks to combat scenarios. Combat is processed as problem-solving exercise rather than survival situation. I don't understand, Zyl'ax leaned forward. You treated mortal combat like a mental exercise? Well, yeah, what else would it be? Emma genuinely seemed puzzled by the question. I mean, fighting is just physics and biology and pattern recognition. It's all connected. The council chamber's main display updated with incoming requests. 73 species had formally requested access to human combat training programs. 42 more were requesting human military advisors. 16 had submitted applications to establish exchange programs with Earth's combat academies. Admiral T'Lana pulled up the requests with shaking manipulators. They think we have combat academies. They think you're the product of intensive military training. Emma laughed hard enough to nearly drop her pencil. I'm literally a college sophomore. I took one self-defense class because I needed 3 PE credits, and it fit my schedule. That's it. 1 semester. One class prepared you for this? Three analysts shouted simultaneously. Well, that and my dad made me do martial arts when I was 8. Emma shrugged. But that was just like local dojo stuff. Wednesday evenings. I quit when I was 12 because it conflicted with math camp. General Korvax updated the threat assessment in real time. Human juveniles receive combat training as routine childhood activity. Combat education considered less priority than mathematical enrichment programs. Threat level. Recalculating. Emma checked her phone and made a small noise of distress. Okay, this has been wild, but I really need to finish this problem set. Professor Martinez doesn't accept late work, and I'm not going to be the person who saved Earth but failed Calc 2. You think of homework now? Zyl'ax's translator crackled with disbelief. You just prevented your species' extinction. I mean, yeah, but I still have finals. Emma started packing up her backpack. This was just a Tuesday afternoon thing. Finals are like 20% of my grade. The council recorder flagged another priority entry. Human classifies species extinction combat as Tuesday afternoon thing. Perspective calibration, fundamentally incompatible with galactic norms. Wait! Ambassador Jataro's voice carried the weight of sudden, horrible realization. If this was a Tuesday, what do humans do on their difficult days? The chamber went very quiet. Emma stood, slinging her backpack over one shoulder. Thanks for the workout. Seriously, let me know if you want those training tips. The footwork thing really does help. She paused at the door. Oh, and somebody should probably check on Commander Zyl'ax's hydration levels. He was looking pretty dehydrated toward the end there. She walked out, already texting her study group. The council sat in stunned silence as the door closed. Rewrite everything, Admiral Tilana repeated. Every protocol, every threat assessment, every first contact procedure. If a human offers help, accept it. If a human seems unconcerned, be more concerned, not less. And for the love of the founders, never assume human casualness indicates incapability. The formal broadcast went out within the hour. Priority update. Human civilian populations possess combat capabilities exceeding military projections. Human educational institutions include combat training as routine curriculum. Species displaying human behavioral patterns, casualness, helpfulness, academic focus, should be considered extremely dangerous. Recommendation: never challenge humans to combat. They view it as recreational activity. The next day, Emma walked into her Calculus 2 lecture 3 minutes early, sliding into her usual seat in the middle row. Her friend Sarah leaned over, whispering, "Dude, I heard you fought an alien general yesterday. Is that true?" "Yeah, it was fine." Emma pulled out her textbook. "Did you get question 7 on the homework?" "Because I'm still stuck on the optimization part." "Emma, you fought an alien general." "I mostly just didn't get hit while he wore himself out." Emma frowned at her notes. "Seriously though, question 7, the related rates are killing me." Sarah stared at her for a long moment, then apparently decided that pushing the issue wasn't worth it. "It's the implicit differentiation. You have to work backward from the constraint equation." "Oh," Emma's face lit up. "That makes so much more sense." Professor Martinez walked in, and the lecture began. Emma took notes diligently, asked 2 clarifying questions about chain rule applications, and didn't mention that she'd saved Earth from extinction approximately 18 hours earlier. After class, Sarah caught up with her in the hallway. "Want to grab coffee? I feel like you've had a weird week." Emma laughed. "You have no idea." "Yeah, coffee sounds perfect." They walked toward the campus coffee shop, talking about derivatives and upcoming finals. While somewhere in the galactic core, 847 species frantically updated their protocols for interacting with the strange, helpful, mathematically inclined apex predators called humans. And in his recovery quarters, Commander Zyl'ax reviewed the combat footage for the 47th time, trying to understand how a species could be so casually, terrifyingly competent at everything they did. His new report to the Catharian Empire was succinct. Do not engage humans in any form of competition. They will win, they will be nice about it, and somehow that makes it worse.